Major General, stay with us. I'll like to come back to you. Of course, as of now, I want to take our next question to our guest who's right here in the studio, Ambassador Bhatia. Thank you so much for being here with us. Sir, I wanted to, take your thoughts on the significance of the French president being here in India, what it signifies for the two nations coming together. We've already, of course, the Indian Prime Minister was in France in July in last year. And of course, now we're seeing the French president who's right here in India. How does this bring the two nations even closer, who have already shared nearly 25 years together?
Thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you for raising this very pertinent question at the beginning of the coverage itself today. First of all, my best wishes to all countrymen and women and to all friends of India around the world on this special historic Republic Day celebrations in Delhi. It's a foggy morning, but I think people's hearts are filled with enthusiasm and a huge dose of patriotism. To answer your question, what is so special about this Republic Day parade and the meaning of President Macron's visit to India, I think it reflects the very special and unique relationship that binds India and France. The relationship is not 25 years old. What is 25 years old is the strategic partnership which was established in 1998, and we'll come into the details of that later. It's a very old relationship. It's a relationship which is based on shared democratic values and also a very strong convergence of mutual interests. We diplomats always believe that when our values and our interests bring two countries or two societies or two polities together, this becomes a very abiding friendship. This is the case with regard to India and France. President Macron is here at what we call a short notice invitation. I think it is well known in the public domain that earlier New Delhi had extended an invitation to the US President, who for some reasons could not accept the invitation. And then Indian government looked around and settled very quickly on France. The invitation was extended to him. And I think experts are unanimous in saying that the French president has been very magnanimous and very graceful in accepting this invitation so quickly.
So it only solidifies what India and France would be like in the years to come, because we already know the past, but going forward also it signifies stronger ties going forward, does it?
Absolutely. I think all the three time dimensions, the past, the present and the future. So the past has been a story of a rich relationship. At present, vitality is palpable, and we would also talk about the results of the talks between Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi and President Macron, which took place last night, last evening. And third, the future. And I think this is where I would just like to make a couple of sentences to say that France and India is the only relationship where the two leaderships have reflected on the subject and decided to develop a very creative and very imaginative and yet very practical document called Horizon 2047. This was developed last year when PM Modi was in France, and this looks at the future of how this relationship would unfold in various segments. So we are very proud and delighted that the head of the state and head of the government of that country, which is so close to us, is here today with us.
Stay with us, sir. Of course, you're right here with us in the studio. I'd like to now go back to Major General Kocher. Sir, now, France could have brought its Dassault Mirage 2000s as well, but it chose to bring its Rafales. Of course, we know that India has the Rafales in its fleet as well. Talk to us about the defense ties between India and France going forward from here with this parade as well.
A very significant question on defense cooperation. We are aware that 36 Rafale were actually delivered to us before time. And we also have a Mirage 2000 fleet in the Indian Air Force, It's almost 15-20 years old fleet, which was given to us by France and which has been maintained very well through an excellent mechanism of space parts exchange. France has always been a very reliable defense partner for us. We are shortly going to conclude a submarine deal with them. Scorpion, 3 submarines are coming to us. It was a long-felt requirement of the Indian Navy. And also, there is a great deal of cooperation in space and cyber. Many may not be aware, but we have gone into a very close collaboration with France, and we have an annual meetings, progress meetings with them at the NSA level. And there all these nuts and bolts of the various mechanisms are being discussed. And latest acquisition, we will be getting 26 Rafale, a maritime version for the Indian Navy, because today the Indian Ocean region is becoming very volatile, and we need to have that kind of force multipliers with us, like submarines and Rafale jets, aircraft carriers, and France it's got a great amount of technology with them. So we are aware of these aspects, and that is why a great deal of technological sharing is also taking place between India and France, because as you are aware that defense is a strategic sector, and this strategic partnership is now 25 years old, as the ambassador was also mentioning. So this strategic sector needs a greater push, I feel, and with the coming in of this kind of friendship in the last 5 to 6 years, what bonhomie we have seen between Macron and Modi, I'm quite sure that all these projects which are on the anvil right now will get the necessary push, because as you would be aware, these projects do take a long time to materialize. Our basic request to the French government has been that we want this to be done on a fast track process, because the evolutionary things which are happening in the Indian armed forces need a greater push of technology. So I am sure with these kind of defense deals coming through with the France, and France is, by the way, our second largest importer. We import the second largest country, I would say. And therefore, this significance of President Macron's visit to India, a discussion what he has had with PM Modi yesterday, and the follow-up which is going to take place is extremely important.
Major General, of course, I'll come back to you. Ambassador Bhatia, I wanted to just take a line from one of your articles, that the ability to maintain multiple strategic partnerships while safeguarding its strategic autonomy makes New Delhi, with its growing political and economic weight, a preferred partner for Paris. Now, I wanted you to just elaborate a little further on this, that what makes New Delhi Paris' preferred partner?
Yes, I think in a way it is mutual. I think for India, France is the preferred partner, and for France, India is the preferred partner in a relative sense. And this arises from the deep affinity of the philosophy of the foreign policy. We all know that France has come up a long way. Its history shows how within Europe it faced a serious ordeal in terms of wars with Germany, and it had to eventually prevail. In fact, when the Second World War began, France started off as a vanquished power, but it remained very strongly allied with the allied powers, particularly the US and UK. And as a result, when the Second World War ended, France was a victor. So the lesson France learnt was that it should be part of a military alliance, and yet it never gave up its sense of independence, its sense of strategic autonomy. And in a similar manner, this is the story of India's foreign policy and defense policy. When the Cold War was on, India was non-aligned, but it had a special relationship with the Soviet Union.
Yes.
And now when the Cold War ended 20 years back or more, India has developed the policy of multi-alignments. It has not one, but several strategic partnerships. And it works very honestly and forthrightly with them, whether it is Russia, US, France, UK and others. And yet, the core of India's foreign policy is to maintain its strategic autonomy. So, if you see the way the two countries' foreign postures have developed, there is a parallelism, there is an affinity, and this fundamentally makes each other a preferred partner.
Preferred
today.
for both.
Preferred for both, absolutely.
All right, Ambassador Bhatia, stay with us. Of course, you're right here. We're going to be speaking with you as the parade begins as well. As of now, I'd like to thank Major General Rajan Kochar for sharing all his insights with us. Thank you so much for joining in right here on WION with us. And we're just minutes away from the parade, which is about to, from the arrival of the dignitaries, which is about to begin, and the parade, which is expected to start at 10:30 a.m. We are going to be tracking the developments closely.